What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear about Mumbai? I can guess some of your answers. Long hours of traffic, local trains, Marine Drive, street food, and the stock market. But somewhere in this list, you would also include Bollywood. After all, Mumbai is the hub of the film industry, especially the Hindi film industry. Now, no, we are not going to give you some filmy gossip in this video, but we will try to tell you a very significant political story like a movie plot. And this story is of the Thackeray brothers, Raj and Uddhav Thackeray. Now, we've been tracking and talking about this for weeks now. The possibility of Shiv Sena Supremo Balasaheb Thackeray's nephew and son coming together. Two estranged cousins for about 20 years now. The story too has its own set of drama, anger, emotion, and a long journey. But come the 5th of July, Maharashtra will see a rare sight. Raj and Uddhav on the same stage. They're calling it a celebratory event for the Marathi-speaking people of the state after the state government's unsuccessful bid to what they call imposition of Hindi under a new policy. Joint invites are being sent out by the brothers. Preparations are underway at Mumbai's NSCI Dome in Worli, and excitement is of course building up among their respective party workers. But in this video, we will look at a larger picture beyond the 5th July event. Who are the other characters in this potential reunion story? What could happen if Uddhav and Raj come together? Who gains, who loses, what happens about the dynamics, and what does this mean for the state of Maharashtra? Hello and welcome, I'm Shubham Chauhan. Let's get started. So let's look at our star cast in this saga of a potential Thackeray union. We'll take this step by step, especially if you're watching this outside of Maharashtra, just for context. Now, there are 5 key characters in this story. Shiv Sena UBT Chief Uddhav Thackeray, Maharashtra Navnirman Sena Chief Raj Thackeray, Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde, who by the way also heads one faction of the Shiv Sena after splitting in 2022, Maharashtra Chief Minister and Senior BJP leader Devendra Fadnavis, and last is Union Home Minister Amit Shah. Now, here's a brief of each of our characters in this story. First, Uddhav Thackeray. He is the son of Shiv Sena Supremo late Balasaheb Thackeray. Many call him an unlikely politician. His initial love and passion was photography. Politics came much later. He gradually began taking control of Shiv Sena under his father's watch in the 1990s. After his cousin Raj quit the Sena and Balasaheb passed away in 2012, Uddhav Thackeray was the leader of the Shiv Sena. But in 2022, came the big surprise. Uddhav Thackeray saw a rebellion in his party, a vertical split virtually. Majority of his MLAs, MPs, party workers deserted Uddhav Thackeray one by one and joined Eknath Shinde's faction. Worse, Uddhav Thackeray lost the party name and symbol, the Shiv Sena bow and arrow symbol, and the name to Shinde, a party that Uddhav Thackeray's father had built. Uddhav Thackeray now lost all of that to Eknath Shinde. In the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, Uddhav Thackeray won 9 out of the 21 seats he contested, which is a fairly decent strike rate. In the Vidhan Sabha though, his party faced a huge setback, winning only 20 seats out of the 80 or 90 odd seats that Shiv Sena UBT had contested. In a head-to-head battle between the two Shiv Senas, it was Eknath Shinde who had a slight edge over Uddhav Thackeray. But such was the margin of defeat for Uddhav Thackeray that his party and him had more questions than answers after the Vidhan Sabha elections. Some even began writing political obituaries for Balasaheb Thackeray's son and the party he was heading. So that is character 1. Next up is his cousin, Raj Thackeray, a fiery, aggressive orator. Raj is seen as more of a natural politician than Uddhav. Raj does not mince his words, speaks from his heart, and even mimics his political rivals on stage. All of these traits that was synonymous with his uncle Balasaheb Thackeray. In 2005, Raj walked out of the Shiv Sena and formed his own party called the Maharashtra Navnirman Sena. The party tasted initial electoral success in the 2009 assembly election, winning 13 seats. But post-2014, the MNS has been in a free fall. Electorally, it has been wiped out. In 2019, it managed to win 1 seat of Kalyan Rural, but in 2024 assembly elections, that too went away. But in the last decade, MNS has been reduced to the fringes electorally. But the paradox is that every time Raj Thackeray addresses a rally, he draws humongous crowds. His comments, aggression, and even his party workers' violent actions on ground never go unnoticed. But currently, here's where he stands, on the fringes of Maharashtra's political landscape, with only immense and talented oratory keeping him company. Now, these two brothers have their own share of political ups and downs. They've had their own share of political ups and downs over the years. They've tried all permutations and combinations, fought with the BJP, fought against the BJP. In fact, Uddhav Thackeray even became chief minister thanks to an unlikely alliance with the Congress and the NCP. But all of these combinations have had only limited success. For Uddhav, going back to the BJP at this point would potentially be the final nail in his political career's coffin. And that also wouldn't be acceptable to a large section of voters that he has gained after allying with the Congress and the NCP. On the other hand, where does Raj Thackeray go? Most recently, he gave an unconditional support to the BJP and NDA in the Lok Sabha elections, but he and his party did not really get anything out of it. So just by the process of elimination, if not emotion, a Raj-Uddhav reunion is the last option for both of them to shore up their electoral prospects and gain more relevance in Maharashtra politics. Now, it also has a huge emotional angle to it. You see, Balasaheb Thackeray was immensely fond of both his son and his nephew. He tried his bit to reunite both Raj and Uddhav, but he was unsuccessful. And Thackeray as a collective brand is a very emotional one. Their party workers, leaders, supporters, MLAs, MPs are all emotionally bound by Balasaheb Thackeray, his ideology, his speeches, his party and his wishes. In fact, all said and done, MNS was also born out of the undivided Shiv Sena in more ways than one. Many senior MNS leaders have begun their political journey with the Shiv Sena before eventually siding with Raj in 2006. So now let's assume all goes well. On the 5th, they celebrate the spirit of Marathi culture, language together, and then eventually come together at a later stage for the local body elections in Mumbai. Now, for the Thackeray brothers, this could be a huge lifeline, like I already said, and it would also help them consolidate their fragmented voter base, which is particularly among the Marathi-speaking people in Maharashtra, the Maharashtrians. So in that case, who loses? Which brings us to the third character now, Eknath Shinde. Now until 2022, not many people knew about this man. A rickshaw driver from Thane, groomed under Shiv Sena Thane unit's chief and a strongman, Anand Dige, Shinde was comparatively a local leader until 2022. He was limited to Thane and the surrounding areas. But in 2022, he got his chance to shine. Eknath Shinde staged a rebellion with the help of powers that be, got the maximum MLAs on his side, got the Shiv Sena name and bow and arrow symbol on his side, and went on to become the Chief Minister of Maharashtra. A man who had his beginnings as a rickshaw driver in Thane, from a leader of Thane, now heading the state altogether in 2022. Now, Shinde's argument has been that he is the real Shiv Sena. He is the one who follows Balasaheb Thackeray's ideology, and it was Uddhav Thackeray who broke away from that by joining hands with the Congress and NCP. Like the organization, the Shiv Sena vote split after 2022 as well. One half of their voters sided with Uddhav Thackeray and the other went with Eknath Shinde. So what would a Raj-Uddhav union do? Now everything that Shinde wouldn't want to see. It would get the Marathi vote together, get the Thackeray brand together, get the legacy of Balasaheb Thackeray together, directly threatening, if not undermining Eknath Shinde and his party's existence. And who would like to see a weakened Eknath Shinde? Character number 4, Devendra Fadnavis, the current Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Now, Devendra Fadnavis' political graph has grown exponentially in the last decade or so. He has come out trumps on all the challenges that he has faced in his political career, except twice. One in 2019, when Uddhav Thackeray, his ally partner at the time, quit the alliance and went on to become the CM with another combination. Devendra Fadnavis, with 105 MLAs by his side, the single largest party in the Maharashtra Assembly, had to sit in the opposition. He had no other choice but to sit in the opposition. Of course, in 2022, he had the last laugh when Uddhav Thackeray had to quit as Chief Minister. But in the process of making Eknath Shinde as the next Chief Minister, Fadnavis was left red-faced again. Now initially, his plan was to stay out of the Shinde government. But hours later, the BJP asked Devendra Fadnavis to be Eknath Shinde's deputy. So here was Devendra Fadnavis, who was now deputy to a leader who was A, lesser known across Maharashtra than him, and B, a leader who was Fadnavis's cabinet minister at one point. From 2022 to 2024, Devendra Fadnavis continued to be the deputy chief minister, the deputy to Eknath Shinde. Now, contrary to many expectations, Eknath Shinde did manage to establish himself as a leader in his own right in Maharashtra. A 24/7 leader everywhere. He's there on ground all the time, open to communication. Shinde was everywhere. He used the CM chair and the resources that come with it to establish himself in Maharashtra politics. So Fadnavis wasn't alone. Within 2 years, there was Eknath Shinde standing at par with Devendra Fadnavis in terms of popularity and fame in Maharashtra. Now, the dynamics have become such that 2 years down the line, Devendra Fadnavis, who's now back as CM, sees his biggest rival in Eknath Shinde. Not on the opposition, not in the BJP, but his own deputy currently. Devendra Fadnavis, given the shrewd politician that he is, he wouldn't let a chance go to cut Eknath Shinde down to size. In par with a brute majority now, there are multiple reports of Devendra Fadnavis tightening his grip over the bureaucracy and the overall government machinery, consolidating his reputation of the sole development-oriented pan-Maharashtra leader. Much of it is directed at Shinde indirectly, of course, but the message is to show who the boss really is. Add a Thackeray reunion to this mix now. In this Eknath Shinde Devendra Fadnavis Cold War, add a Thackeray reunion to it. Now, we've already told you about the damage this union would do to Eknath Shinde, but for Devendra Fadnavis, wouldn't this be the perfect, most happy reunion to see? A reunion that cuts his biggest rival currently to size, and one that will give him the leverage, that will give Devendra Fadnavis the leverage over Eknath Shinde as far as bargaining power is concerned. Now, in private, there were reports of a secret meeting between Raj Thackeray and Devendra Fadnavis a few days back. Now, there's no official word on what transpired in the meeting, but one may not be too wrong to think that a Raj-Uddhav reunion would have been green-lighted by Devendra Fadnavis himself. Publicly, Fadnavis has openly said that a reunion between the Thackeray brothers would be welcomed.
उद्धव ठाकरे और राज ठाकरे एक साथ आते हुए दिख रहे हैं। एक उनका जो समन्वय है वो फिर से साथ में आते हुए दिखेगा। आपको क्या लगता है सर, राज ठाकरे उद्धव ठाकरे?
देखिए, पहली बात तो यह है कि अगर वो साथ में आते हैं तो हमें उसकी खुशी है, क्योंकि कोई भी अगर बिछड़े हुए लोग साथ में आते हैं या किसी का विवाद समाप्त होता है तो अच्छी बात है, इसमें बुरा मानने की क्या बात है। तो आए, लेकिन इससे ज्यादा इसके ऊपर हम क्या बोले, क्योंकि इन्होंने ऑफर दिया, उन्होंने रिस्पॉन्ड किया, इन्होंने शर्तें रखी, इसके ऊपर तो वो बोल सकते हैं, हम क्या बोल सकते हैं। लोकल
Now let's look at the last character of the story, Amit Shah, Union Home Minister and the second most powerful leader in India. Post 2022, Eknath Shinde has made no bones about the fact that his loyalty lies with Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah. Many believe that Eknath Shinde is a favorite of Amit Shah, that the Home Minister has decided to back Shinde to the hilt and also perhaps use him to ensure that the growth of Devendra Fadnavis, the individual, doesn't get too much to handle for the party high command. Now, from Amit Shah's point of view, a successful Raj-Uddhav reunion would lead to the creation of a firm opposition in the long run. The same opposition and the same Uddhav Thackeray that Amit Shah had vowed to finish politically, reduce him to the fringes, especially after their 2019 experience. But can the BJP afford to have a new alliance shape in the form of the Thackeray brothers? That is, again, like I said, $1 million question. But at the same time, we should also look at the Raj-Uddhav patch-up slightly objectively. Is this patch-up so easy? Not really. There's one thing that stops or is becoming a huge obstacle in this partnership. That is trust. Does Uddhav Thackeray trust Raj Thackeray? And does Raj Thackeray trust Uddhav Thackeray? Now, they've tried coming together in the past in 2014 and 17. Now, Raj Thackeray says that Uddhav Thackeray backed out at the last moment. Now, we are given to understand that currently Uddhav Thackeray also has a similar dilemma. What if his brother, who is now sending positive signals, backs out at the last moment or in the long run? What if Raj changes track suddenly and ditches Uddhav Thackeray? And that really is the fear in Matoshri right now. That what if Raj Thackeray starts dominating the equation and undermines everyone, including the political career of Uddhav Thackeray's son, Aditya Thackeray. Now, there are two ways this possible reunion could go. One is that the two brothers just can't take that last step, that last leap of faith to forge a powerful political alliance. And all of this talk just falls apart. That is possibility number one. The second, and the more optimistic, is that this reunion happens and eventually creates a new front altogether in Maharashtra. One that is not tested electorally. But if it holds, this front could see incremental yet significant electoral gains starting with the BMC elections in Mumbai this year, all the way up to 2029 assembly elections. And the big rider is, of course, if this alliance holds. But who knows? The 5th of July celebratory event, which is now being looked at as, could just be the start of things to come in this complicated yet very dramatic saga of a reunion between Uddhav Thackeray and his estranged cousin Raj Thackeray. That's all we have for this report. Thanks for watching.